Okay, so good morning, first of all. Um, I have to first apologize. Um, there was a lot of footage, and I was getting uh, some texts and phone calls as well. Anyway, my name is Brother Lewis, and I've been making videos pertaining to corruption within leadership. Now, um, this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Um, I'm a part of the organization that's known as the United House of Prayer for All People. For those of you who are not familiar with our channel, if you click on my username, Joseph the 11th Son, it'll pull up our channel page. Click on videos, go down to video number 68. You'll see a part one and part two, a short and long version giving you details as to what this channel is for. That said, let me jump right on into this video. We made a trip, myself, my wife, my son, uh, this past weekend. And I'm going to be giving you the details of that trip in this video. Before I do that, I want to read a comment that was made just this morning. And this is necessary as we get into the video that we're about to cover. So that said, it says, greetings, Brother Lewis. I hear what you're saying, but question, why did security have to snatch the bullhorn away from you? He could have been more polite, whispering your faults kindly in your ear, not to disturb others around you. Thank God you have Christ's Spirit, because the average man would have taken that situation to another level without thinking. He didn't have to use physical expression. He should have more expressed kindly, verbally, and warning in regards to your fault. In the real world, he would have been on the ground. He put himself in danger. He still used a physical approach that should have been avoided with his approach that way, almost putting the members in danger as well. That approach was wrong. This was Jola. Let me go back. I think this was Jola Violante. Yes, Jola Violante. First of all, thank you for your comment. And yes, you're 100% correct. The approach that they made, it was quite frankly wrong. It should not have happened. And that type of approach can escalate a situation quickly, as you saw in the video. But it was necessary for me to actually make a video in order to pour water on the flames that have been ignited with this situation. So I have the unique obligation as well as the responsibility while I'm doing what I'm doing through this method of putting the truth out there for the members of the organization to see, hear, and understand. I have to also keep in mind that there's many that still don't know what's going on. There's a lot, I won't say many, but when it comes to the security, they cannot get invested into this situation. So I have to be a realist, first of all, and I have to make sure that I understand that I don't know who within the confinements of security, those boundaries, people might have heard things, might have seen things, and quite frankly, security quite often gets a lot of wrong, mistaken, or false information. So again, that's why I made a video about this, because they have this unique place in any given situation. They have to look at all the details that may not be readily available for them to make a decision as to what's going on and to determine whether or not they should, put hands on or leave it alone so that they can continue to investigate the matter, right? So, and I'm trying to think of words to make sure that everybody understands what I'm saying. If you don't have a security background or martial arts or military or defense, even athletes, there's a edge that you have over the rest of the public because you have been coached, you've been trained, you've been in situations and scenarios that most people have not. So you have knowledge in certain aspects that other people just quite frankly don't understand. So I'm trying to make sure that everybody who's watching understands what I'm saying. So given the situation, that gentleman, it's obvious he has not had a whole lot of training pertaining to de-escalation, techniques to not draw attention to oneself, how to quietly or securely enter into an environment or an atmosphere without giving notice to your intention, right? So he approached softly. That's good. He came slowly. That's good. He talked quietly. This is good. These are all good things. So he knew enough to know that, which is why I said in the video that when he walked around me, I know that this is not a problem. But when he got to the other side and he's still talking to me, he's still quiet, he's still slow in his movements, he's still soft spoken, he's non-threatening. I'm still looking ahead, but here's the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and anybody in security, well, not many people who are trained, they'll be able to confirm this. Just because you're looking forward, you're looking straight ahead, doesn't mean you can't see what's going on beside you. So the terminology is peripheral vision, right? So even though I'm looking straight ahead, my thumbs are in front of me, but I can still see my thumbs, and I can see my thumbs right now. This is about the end of my peripheral vision. So I can see my thumb here, and I can see my thumb here. So even though I'm looking ahead, I'm non-threatening, but I'm watching you. I see what's going on my left, and I see what's going on my right, but I'm keeping my focus and my attention ahead. I even took a couple of still photos to show you what I'm talking about. And this is a lot of security. They do this all the time. So I see you approaching. I'm just not going to let you know that I see you approaching. Individuals who wear glasses, if you get certain types of glasses and you wear them a certain way, especially in lighting, you can use your lenses and the glasses to see beyond your peripheral vision to even look behind you. So I can look back here to about right here by looking at the reflection in my glasses. So I can look forward and I can look at the reflection in my glasses to see behind me on both sides, right? So every sneeze at you is not a sneeze. Sometimes a sneeze is to look back here. Sometimes an eye rub is to look over here. Sometimes blowing nose is to check everywhere around you. This is how there's a movie about a woman who was autistic, but she got all kinds of awards because she understood the language of animals. She noticed that a horse is looking ahead, but a horse's ears are always turning around. The horse is always listening and turning its ear, right, to see where sound is coming from. People who are trained in security and whatever other background, they're constantly paying attention to their surroundings. So if you think of this like a U.S. Marshal, you will never know who that person is if you don't know to look for. So A U.S. Marshal is an individual who's on a plane, who's every single airplane, every commercial airplane where people are flying here and there. There is a person on there who is a part of security. They are a U.S. Marshal. But there's two terms when it comes to security. You have uniformed officers and non-uniformed officers. They're wearing what's called civilian clothes. They just look like everybody else. Um, so non-uniform officer, you have no idea who they are. But most of the time they're in loose clothing. For those who are more prepared than others, they're wearing more than one layer of clothing. But loose clothing, especially pants, because if you need to jump, if you need to roll on the ground, if you need to throw out your hip and do certain things, your pants are not going to rip. Your pants are still going to secure whatever. And you can also even use your clothing in different types of situations. So they're going to be in that attire because they don't know what's going to happen, but they're prepared. You just don't know that they're prepared. I said all that to say this. When he went to the other side in the video, I was still watching, but I was videoing as well. And I need to make sure that we have on video every single thing that happens. So I have to be mindful to not react, to not respond. I have to allow people to do what they're going to do. And keep in mind, he had a cane in his hand, but the cane was not threatening. His cane was on the ground. His hand was pointed down. So I'm watching your hands. I'm watching your body movement. I'm watching what's going on while it looks like I'm not paying you no attention. Security does this. So when he reached for the megaphone, he's reaching for the strap. And then I just talked directly to him. And this is what I'm saying when security came over. Their aim was not to do anything to myself or anybody else. Their aim was simply to calm him down, get his hand off of the strap to the megaphone. And of course, this is why I said he was just upset because it looked like, one, I was ignoring him. Two, I'm speaking to project my voice over this service that in his mind, he sees as complete and total disrespect. So I have to show understanding because while I'm still doing what I'm doing to bring awareness to the members of the House of Prayer, the leader, Mr. Cunningham, is doing everything he can to try to incite people to anger. He knows what he's doing. He knows full well what he's doing. And he will be held accountable. On top of all these other things that he's doing, he will be held accountable for this as well. And any incident that happens, he had the security, remember, to sign a liability waiver to try to protect himself and hedge himself in from being responsible for any incident. The problem is, I know that they have no clue what they're doing. By they, I don't mean security. I mean him and his staff. I'm not going to give away so much information because it helps us in the end. My point is they don't know what they're doing. And I will say this, security, don't worry about the liability waiver. If something happens on your watch, no matter where it is, no matter what it is, Mr. Cunningham will still be held accountable. Mrs. Madison will still be held accountable, and the organization can still be held accountable. So I just want to give you some insurance, some mental insurance, so that in the event whatever comes up, you're not sitting there thinking that you got to hold the bag, right? Because again, you're in a situation where literally anything can happen. So that was to answer the question in regards to the comments. I cannot do anything. One second. I cannot do anything. I need to make sure that I keep my composure at all times. I'm going to be watchful, but I need to keep my composure because this is a non-threatening situation. So I'm not bringing any trouble. I don't want any trouble. The security knows that I'm not trying to cause trouble. They know that I'm just trying to be heard. So, and you're going to see that in the video today. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this. So I went to Greensboro for the baptism. And I'm just going to play one video first. And then I'm going to come back and play. I'm going to come back and show pictures. Now, here's your thing. You're going to see that I spoke for less than 40 seconds. 40 seconds. But watch what happens.
Brothers and sisters of the house of prayer, name is Brother Lewis. I'm trying for the last 2 years to get a meeting with Bishop Cunningham. He's been dodging and ducking me, and you all know that he's been saying things about me in the services. I'm actually here to make sure that he will set up a meeting that we can have in front of the congregation. Let him know, please, that I'll be back at 12 o'clock so that we can set up this meeting.
Okay. Now, I got to where I wanted to get to in the video. So let them know at 12 o'clock I will be back so that we can set up this meeting. All right. So at that point, I noticed that individuals had made their way over. So now I'm going to just start showing you pictures. So individuals making their way over. Okay. Here, you see I'm there, and one of the gentlemen's come over. Now we parked right across the street from the baptism. So you see the two police cars there. They pulled up behind me, and I'm there speaking. I said 5 minutes, but I actually spoke, like I said, you'll see it on the timer, less than 40 seconds. Okay. And you see a gentleman make his way over. Well, he's coming by, and you see him here. Well, when he comes over, my eye is kind of closed, but you see, I'm now about to face the direction. So I'm looking, and if you notice his earpiece, right? Of course, the assumption is this is security. The way he comes over, the way he makes his way is security. I know that you're non-uniformed, so I need to see, okay, what is your purpose when you come over? And he came over, and as he's coming over, once again, you see me talking, you see his face is turned towards me just a little. And here, I'm checking to make sure that the video is running. Because again, our purpose is to make sure we document and record whatever is going to happen. So I'm looking, and I'm mindful. You're going to see that there's nothing. Well, I'm going to just show you. So now I'm double checking to make sure. You see another security personnel make his way over. So here you see there's nothing in his hand, right? I don't care about you coming up. As long as you don't have anything that you can use for anything, no big deal. Come on up and approach. But he actually, he said hello, right? Um, in his own way. And then he made his way. So security has a way of doing things. Sometimes, they have to be real subtle. They'll whisper things and you take it from there. So he whispered something, but it was a loud whisper. People were not in the immediate vicinity, as you saw, so he was safe to say what he said without anybody hearing. But this is why I wanted to cut off the recording. The rest of everything that takes place, I don't want people to hear what it is that we documented. So with that in mind, I'm just showing you now pictures. So you see, after he said what he said, he makes his way. I put down the megaphone and I turned to him to come back over. And he continues walking. No big deal, right? He goes on. He's going over to talk to the police. I stand there for a moment and I go ahead and get ready to put the megaphone up. And you see there's, more personnel, security personnel. And like I said last week, they are there to determine that nothing happens. So I'm appreciative, right? And so there's one already walked by me. There's another one who's uniformed. He walks by. Here's one here. Here's another gentleman here. And I'm just going to the car. So I'm getting ready to put my megaphone up. And you see he turns around to see who's walking up behind him, right? This is what security does. So here's another gentleman, a part of security personnel. I believe he is. I'm not sure. I think he is. But again, they're up here by our car. And you see the police car behind them. So they are looking this way. I'm over here. And I feel like there's no problem. So I go ahead and put my stuff up, and you see the two of them. They're there with him. There's others behind me. No big deal. And then I make my way to go down. You see my hat there. While we're talking to the police, there's non-uniform and uniform as well. So while we're out here, everybody's just talking. We're explaining the situation. No big deal. And the issue was whether or not I should speak on the sidewalk that's up right at the corner adjacent to the house of prayer, or whether I should speak from where you saw in the video. Now, the whole debate at that moment was pretty much about this property that you're on is private property. Keep in mind, we just built apartments across the street, condominiums from the house of prayer. That entire lot belongs to that property. The property is called Bailey Village, and they have signs up saying private property. I pulled up there because there's nowhere else for me to park. I didn't want to park there, but there was nowhere else when I pulled up. So I noticed the location of the baptism area, and I said, okay, well, I just pull up here. I'm only going to be a few minutes, not even 5 minutes. And you saw the video was literally only 40 seconds. I was getting ready to get back in the car. That in mind, the security that passed me went to talk to the police. I put the megaphone up. I wanted to go and have a chat myself. So this is what you're seeing, and this is what they're talking about at the time. A few other things came up. while we were there. But for the most part, we were talking about whether or not I should be there at that spot or whether I should be at the corner. So we're talking, and the officer explaining to me that they want me off of the property. So they're listening because, again, they're security, and quite frankly, they're going to do their job. Their job is to, again, two things: keep the peace and order. So they're there to do that. I'm on the House of Prayer property. In my mind, I'm a House of Prayer member. I can be on the property. But in reality, I know that I'm not wanted by the leader, but I also know that the members don't know what the leader's purpose for not wanting me to be there is. And the public property on the sidewalk would have been easier for us, but I would have been right up against the fence where the members are standing for the baptism. I didn't want to be up on the fence because that would give the impression that I'm trying to upset people. I didn't want to upset no one. So just like you saw in Virginia, I went across the street. That was my purpose for being there on the sidewalk. So we're talking, and the police, they're engaged, and they're listening to me offer rebuttals pertaining to why it would be better for me to stand on that side. Now, again, there's other conversation being had. There was a situation that, just like in Virginia, for transparency, people's emotions were on a little edgy, but that's security. So I have to understand the situation. Everything was fine. Everything's copacetic. And then Lewis rolls up, right? And now all these people, the baptism, we didn't get there at 10:30. This time we got there about 11:15, 11:20. So they're already in. The music is going. The bands are wailing. You can hear the music in the back. When I played the siren a couple of times, just to get the people's attention, I'm not going to be a nuisance. I'm not going to be a bother. So I didn't let it woo, woo, woo. I didn't let it keep on playing. I just held it down, let it play twice. Boop, turned it off. I didn't even let it finish. Boop, just turn it off. Not trying to be a problem. I just want your ear and your attention. So that's when I spoke. Well, you can see other elders are now back here. And as we continue talking, here comes the chairman. So Apostle Woodley makes his way over, right? And you still see police and elders all over. You see he's leaning in, whispering in my ear. You see my lovely wife standing there with the glasses on. She's right there beside me, making sure that no big deal, no problem. And yes, at the same time, she made sure that the recorder was playing. So she's right up on it, in your face, without being in your face, but close enough to hear everything being said all around us. And to get the video footage of everything taking place, right? So that's why she wanted to be near. Now, he's whispering in my ear, and we continue talking. And you see the gentleman that came by the sidewalk, and he said something to me. And we're talking now, but what you see is we continue talking. And Willie is there. It's all good. It's all right. Listen, I understand. Let's make sure that we are having a clear moment of communication. I need you to understand what you probably don't understand. And that's all this conversation is about. So, friendly conversation, right? And he is making sure while others are still coming over, there's councilmen coming, elders coming, and security still all around, while the people at the baptism are looking. But here, right there. Okay? I'm shaking his hand, right? So while I'm shaking his hand, we're engaged. And everybody's still fine. We're talking. And we continue talking, right? But you see more elders come over and security is still there. And we're continuing to talk. And at this point, we're making sure that everybody is fine. And the question was, why is he still on the property? At that time, keep in mind, Mr. Cunningham is somewhere at the parsonage. They're already on the phone with him. He needs to be getting ready to leave, and it might take him 15 minutes or so to arrive. But there might have been 20-ish, 25 minutes left before. No, we were there for a while. Yeah, I'm sure that we were running into his time frame for him to come. And so security, they're being pulled in different directions. So I'm sure they were trying to hurry up and get this dealt with, get Lewis out of here, because his car and the 2 police cars are parked right there on that street where he's going to be coming through at, right? And the people are still watching all this stuff going on. So I'm trying to get Willie's attention. Listen, let's go up to the sidewalk, right? He's still engaged, and we had just shaken hands, but I held onto his other hand, and we're getting ready to go up to the sidewalk. So all of a sudden, here comes Elder Boatwright. I got to get my same thing, tip my hat off to Elder Boatwright. 1, 2, I think I mentioned him in my last video, but he came up in Washington, and the way that he talks, very quiet spoken, soft approach, no issue, no big deal. He was saying that there's no problem with you being here. The problem is where you are. We understand what it is that you're trying to do. Everybody's got their opinion, but this is not the right time. This is not how you do this. This is not the best way to do this. This is how he was talking. And I get it, and I understand. But now I am explaining to him, and again, look at what you see. Okay? Shaking his hand now. And what you see is men in dialogue. But I'm trying to get him to understand what I'm doing. And so we're talking, and we continue talking. And you see Elder DuPont in the back over here. He is there. He makes his way over to also back up Elder Boatwright, and to make sure that everything is fine. Elder DuPont, tip my hat off to him. Very quiet spoken, same thing. Lewis is not a problem. He's just here to say what he wants to say. We can't have him on the property, but there's nothing wrong with him being on the sidewalk. This is public property. And as long as there's no issues, there's no big deal. I was done talking in the megaphone. I wasn't causing a problem. So Elder DuPont, you see again, he's there, and he's sitting back, making sure things are also fine. So I'm talking to Elder Boatwright, and we continue talking, and now we're talking about, again, where to go when I come back. So while we're talking, so Woodley makes his way back over, and the issue at that time is, I think it's time. They need to get Mr. Cunningham on over, and Pastor Woodley, of course, this is Greensboro. This is his area. This is his location. So everything going on right now, it's going to make him look bad, and he needs to handle this because he's not responsible for this. He's not at fault for this. He's just there. And Lewis popped up. And right now, Mr. Cunningham is on his way. And I'm sure in Apostle Woodley's mind, what in the world? I got to handle this. I got to get him off the property. So I'm sure he's nervous. I'm sure he's frantic. I'm sure he's anxious, but he's got to hold it together too, right? So the boat right, handling the situation took that pressure off of Apostle Woodley. Same thing with Elder DuPont. Um, listen, I'm going to offer my assistance. We're going to handle the situation. We're going to smoothly transition to him leaving this area, the private property. They wanted simply for me to make sure that I'm just not on the private property. They wanted me off the premises. But if I'm going to stay, just don't be on the private property. The sidewalk, there's nothing we can say. That's public property. And they understood. So they were the ear and the voice of reason. Now, the DuPont, the Boatwright. The DuPont was kind of playing, fallback by dealing with the police at times and the security guards and other elders. At least that's what I perceived. While the police, they're just there making sure all is well. But they got a call that they had to leave because the city did not want the police to be involved in a dispute in a religious matter, right? So then we talked because I needed them to understand that's not what's going on. You're on the premises just to make sure that nothing happens. You're not affiliated with the organization, and the organization is not affiliated with you. But they have to, the PD, they have to be hands off and not even appear that they're involved with whatever this is that's going on, and they knew it could blow up, right? So everybody is making sure that nothing is going on. So I continue explaining to the Boatwright, and he's telling me about, again, the sidewalk, and Pastor Woodley is trying to make sure, okay, am I going to leave? Am I going to stay? And you see, once again, the DuPont is right there by Pastor Woodley. So while we are still talking, Pastor Woodley, he begins to try, once again, to get me off of the premises. And I get it. But at that moment, honestly, I did not think about the fact that, well, we're getting closer and closer and closer to 12. All I thought about was the fact that, well, I need you all to understand that I'm not trying to be a problem. So I could have done that different ways, but at the same token, they know that I've been trying to do this for several years now. And all I needed them to understand is I just want to have a meeting with Mr. Cunningham in front of the members of the organization. Now, in all honesty, the council understands this. So you're going to see one make his way over. But here we are. Okay. And we continue talking. And there's another security that comes over, and they're expressing a few things, and we're trying to determine, okay, the street, I need to get the car out of the way. The police are behind me. They need to move their cars as well. Pastor Woodley is talking about us going back to his office. The security guard comes over. We are still talking. And as we're talking, making sure that everybody understands everything with what's going on, we end up with an understanding. And the understanding, quite frankly, is that I'm not there to be an issue. Now, I took a couple of other pictures. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. But everybody understands that I'm not there to be an issue. So here's Woodley getting ready to walk me to his office. He wanted me to go to his office so that we can talk about this. Well, this was his way of just removing me from the premises, take me inside the house of prayer, and we can deal with whatever there. There's no longer a scene going on outside. But I know that Apostle Woodley was not thinking straight because my car, my wife, and my son were still outside. The police cars were still parked. He is just trying to get me out of there while Mr. Cunningham is more than likely on his way. So again, Pastor Woodley just trying to do whatever he can do to handle the situation, get me out. And you saw right here on the boat right, he's back standing by the police officer, and he's making sure that everything else is fine as well. You see Elder DuPont, he also making sure that everything else is fine as well. And at that point, he was talking to the police officer. I'm now walking up to the grass, and we're making our way. But you see again where the cars are parked. We're right there on the street beside where the baptism is taking place. And you see the people, a lot of the people are looking. So we're making our way up to the sidewalk, and now me and Apostle Woodley are talking again. This is where we were on our way to the car. You see the individuals over here. They're talking to the police about what's about to happen with us leaving the premises. They're getting everybody to understand the same thing. In a situation like this, going forward, this property right here, how do we deal with this? Do we take matters into our own hands? Do we call the police? I guess that's what they're talking about. I'm not sure. But they remained over there with the police for a few minutes before they came over. By the time they got over there, I think they had been talking about how to handle the situation if something like this were to take place again. I think I just mentioned that. But what is their place in this situation if there's security already provided by the house of prayer? So anyway, you see us talking, and I continue talking. You see me smiling. You see Pastor Woodley smiling, right? And then the police, they make their way back over because we got to wrap this up. Elder Boatwright, he makes his way over, and I start talking to him again. But look, handshakes all around, right? Non-threatening. You see the smile on his face. He's trying to make sure that I'm good, trying to make sure that everybody else is good, trying to make sure that there's no situation, because he understands that emotions are high. Why? Not so much because, Louis, I think it was because Mr. Cunningham is on his way. And now, besides Apostle Woodley trying to get me into the office, I think Elder Boatwright, listen, we got to hurry up and end this. We got to get Louis to move the car so that all of this is gone before Mr. Cunningham arrives. So again, kudos to him. And I will say this. I kind of respect Elder Boatwright. I give him that edge of respect a little more because I met him outside of House of Prayer, meetings and services. My first time meeting him actually was at a Walmart. While I had an issue, I had not changed the fluid in my transmission yet. And the vehicle that I had, it was just all electronic. I couldn't go to someone and just, drop the fluid and refill it, get a flush. Everything's done by computers in the vehicle that I owned at the time. So while waiting, the vehicle doesn't start if it notices a malfunction on one of the computer chips. Long story short, I had to, for about 4 days or so, manually get out, pop the hood, jump start the vehicle because it has an automatic shutoff. At a parking lot, my charge was not strong enough at that time to jump my vehicle. Elder Boatwright happened to be pulling up. And he saw me, I saw him. Oh, wait a minute, house of prayer. He gave me a jump. That's how I met him. Since then, because his demeanor at that time, it was just casual conversation. He stopped, he took his time, he helped. That was it, he's gone. That might have been maybe 8, 9 years ago. So because I recall that about his demeanor and um, his character, I kind of, that's not like many of the others in the house of prayer. Though I have to say, outside the house of prayer, I have not seen others. But that's why I give him the respect that I give him, because I haven't seen him in any of these situations where emotions are running high, where he gets emotional. He's always cool tempered, cool, calm, and collected. And he comes in soft spoken, real quiet. And I think even this time, come on, Brother Lewis, man, you know me. I know you. Come on, listen. He's all right, guys. He right. Let me talk to him. And that was the approach. Okay. Uh, Almost kind of the same way with Elder DuPont. But the thing is, I'm just making sure that everybody understands while looking at these pictures, non-threatening. So as we continue, you see, again, we're still shaking hands. Apostle Woodley is still there. And the police, as we're wrapping up, we're closing out, and everybody's still watching, right? We're still shaking hands. I squeeze his hand, he squeezed my hand, and we're still holding and shaking hands. No big deal, right? Everybody sees us, that there's not an issue. Apostle Woodley, we're closing out. I'm saying whatever I got to say before I get in the car and leave. Elder Boatwright, just making sure that I'm fine. We know your situation. So I'm letting him know, no, you don't, not really. But at this point, this is when we're making exchanges about talking, okay? You can call and we can talk about this. But right now is not the time. Of course, I know that. But I'm coming intentionally during those moments because the people are outside. They're there for baptism. We have other outside events, but the people are not going to be captivated, right? They're going to maintain their presence, is my point. At a ball game, people can leave. They can go somewhere else, or there's all kinds of situations that could happen at a ball game or at a picnic. But baptism, no, you're there for the baptism. And Mr. Cunningham is guaranteed to be there as well. That's why I did it. So I'm not really coming to cause a disturbance, but Mr. Cunningham is leaving me no other option because he keeps on refusing to see me in front of the people because he knows the information that I'm going to bring forward. So I'm just letting the people know that he's not going to want to meet me at all. However, he's the one that has stated repeatedly that I'm a coward. He made the implication that I'm a coward, putting videos on the internet, afraid to face people that I'm talking about. So I showed up in Newport News first, and then in Greensboro second, to show. No, you got the wrong one. Lewis is no coward by any means. I'm subject. I'm also soft-spoken. I'm very polite, very cordial, right? But if you push me there, then I get a little teeny tiny bit, okay, a little bit more. And now we're here at a point where I'm going to do what I got to do. So the conversation came up about me being banned from the premises. And I did say, I don't know who brought that word up. I don't know who started talking about banning me. But I did say, y'all don't want to ban me. You really don't want to ban me. And you can tell Mr. Cunningham that if he wants to ban me, then go ahead and ban me from the premises. See how that works out. It will be 10 times worse. Y'all think this is a problem right now? Let him ban me. and see how that works out. So again, non-threatening. But I said it almost like that. You don't want to ban me. It's going to be 10 times worse. That was the facial expression. So anyway, they're making sure, especially Elder Boatwright, they know they're not going to ban you. Nobody's going to ban you. We simply want to make sure that you're doing everything that you're doing the right way. This is not the right way, okay? But whatever you're going to do, even if you're going to come back, okay, no problem. But you have to do it over there. And he was really trying to tell people that there's no big deal with Lewis being here. He's not bothering anybody. Even though we don't want him here, Elder Boatwright seemed to understand that you cannot dictate what happens on the sidewalk. So his reasoning was, I just need to get in here, deal with this matter, try to help everybody understand you're not going to be able to do anything about it. Let the man do whatever he's going to do. You can't really stop him, but we can stop this miscommunication where security is coming in to make sure that the peace is kept and order is kept, and Mr. Cunningham is on his way. That's my assumption. But what I do know is he didn't lose his cool, his temperament, none of that. I saw on the video, Pastor Gibbs pop up. Now, he never made his way to me. He never came up. He never let me see that he was there. I never even saw him while I was there because I'm looking at everything else, right? I'm checking behind me, I'm massaging me. My wife is there, making sure she's good. My son stayed in the car this time. He did not get out. But I never saw Apostle Gibbs. And then I realized on camera, he always maintained a position where he was out of my line of sight, meaning that he would come up behind people, right? Or behind an object. On the sidewalk, he came up from behind the car and immediately stood behind them. So you see where he is here. He's behind him. I can't see him, but the camera did. But he's like this behind Boatwright. So it's like he's looking around him. So I didn't see him. Had I seen him, just like I did last week with Apostle Commodore, I called him out. Had I seen Mr. Gibbs up there, I would have called him out. Yes, matter of fact, you know what's going on. Tell them. You can tell them better than I can tell them. But I didn't see him. So it never went there. It would have been better, but it didn't go there. And it worked out exactly the way that the Lord wanted it to work out. So we're wrapping up. He turns around to go back. You see, again, all of this is where Mr. Cunningham is going to be coming in, right? So he leaves, and we're all, saying our pleasantries, getting ready to leave. And look, again, right? Shaking hands again. And there he is, making sure that the police are all good. He explained to them, no, we don't want to ban them. Again, I don't know how this came up. Mr. Woodley, Apostle Woodley, he did say, no, go ahead and ban them. Go ahead and ban them. But that was not a personal decision. Again, being the chairman, you all don't understand. His mind is, I got to answer to everybody about this. And so he was just all over the place up here. And it was a good thing that Elder Boatwright was there, because he kind of helped, keep Apostle Woodley with a clear mind. Again, I don't see any of this as personal. None of it is personal against me. So I didn't take it there, but I know that they're in touch with Mr. Cunningham while I'm on the premises. So if one of them come over, they're whispering to one another. A lot of them was having sidebar conversations. A few of them we were able to pick up. That's why I don't want to play the video for people to hear what was picked up on our recordings. But you see now, we're getting ready to leave, and he's still making sure that everything is fine. And again, we're straightening out this whole ordeal. I'm telling him, he's telling me rather, give him a call. and we can talk about it so I can explain to him whatever. But all of that is, again, to make sure that I'm hurrying up to get off the premises. He did it calmly, but he's quickly trying to get me off the premises. So we finished wrapping up here. I didn't see, there he is again. You see where he's standing behind behind Apostle Woodley. I didn't know he was there. So why is it, and you all can ask him, why is it that he keeps coming up, standing behind people? This is a judge on council. Why is he not engaging me? He's a judge on the council. But I've already talked about our past and certain things that the councilmen are aware of, especially Mr. Gibbs. He's aware of certain things, and he knows that I know that he's aware. So in his approach, he did not come up to approach me directly. He did not want me to see him there, in my opinion. But he could have had a hands-on dialogue if he wanted me to see him. But he never came up to speak. He never alerted his presence. Again, I didn't see him, though I'm watching, but he would approach behind people. He'd come up while people are standing in front of him. And this is why, again, I didn't see him there. Okay? And if you look at my vision, Pastor Woodley's head is blocking Mr. Gibbs, right? So we go ahead. You see he's heading back, and I'm getting ready to pull off. I'm just letting the police know. I got a little bit more time, and all is fine. I'm asking them about the report that they're going to be filing. You see me shaking hands with the other security guards, right? Letting them know that all is fine. This is my wife holding my hand as we're getting ready to leave. And now up here, you see where we're parked, right? Here I am up here talking to more security as I get ready to leave. And everything is fine. All is well. And I head back to the car, and that's that. But you see the people. Everything was over for about maybe a good 10 minutes or so, but the people are still looking, right? So here's the thing. I wrote something, and so that I would not lose my train of thought, and so that I could say everything I wanted to say, I just jotted down a few notes. So that said, the thing is, members of the House of Prayer, we call each other brothers and sisters. Those of you, many of you have stood by this organization for years, even decades. I'm coming to you from a place of love and not anger. My heart has been heavy because of what it is that I know that many of you don't know. But I come with a love for the truth and a burden for the people. So I'm just going to read what I wrote so that I don't miss anything. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. But I want to talk to you today, not as a critic, but as a fellow member who cares deeply for what the House of Prayer used to stand for with its leaders. I've walked the same halls. I sang the same songs. I prayed in the same services. I've loved the House of Prayer and its members, and that love is what gives me the courage to speak. Let me ask you a few simple questions, not to accuse, but to awaken. If someone in the house of prayer, someone at the very top, for all of you who don't know what's going on, including, well, everybody that doesn't know what's going on, if someone was stealing from the people, would you want to know? If someone had been lying to you and using your trust to gain more power for themselves, would that matter to you? What if this went on not just for a few months, but for several decades, over 70 years? What if it wasn't just one person, but what if a pattern had developed over all this time? A structure built to protect the powerful, but silence all the other members. We're often told as members to stop causing trouble whenever we ask a question. But what kind of leader is afraid of questions? If a man is innocent, why would he be hiding? If everything is right, why are you keeping the books closed? Why tell members not to watch my videos if you have nothing to hide? If everything is right, if the house of prayer leadership is solid, why tell the members to not watch my videos? Why not ask what's wrong? Why are the leaders telling you not to think? Why are they telling you? Why is Mr. Cunningham saying, don't even ask about that? Do you believe that being in a leadership position means that you are above correction? Do we still believe in people being held accountable for doing wrong? As members of the house of prayer, what are we telling anybody else when we stand and do nothing at all about wrongdoing? Here's the biggest question of all. If the truth was being hidden from you, if it was being hidden, wouldn't you want somebody to bring that truth to light? If this were happening to your family, your children, your mother, wouldn't you fight for the truth to come out? Let's stop pretending that silence is peace. It's not. To be silent does not keep the peace. To be silent is to assist the wrongdoing. Silence is just quiet suffering. And today I'm asking you not to suffer quietly anymore. I'm asking you to think. I'm asking you to reflect. And most of all, to ask the one thing that they don't want you to ask. Why is Brother Lewis doing all of this? Why is that man going out here, giving this time, making these videos, one after another, after another, after another, after another? Why is that man so devoted to kicking up against the leader of the house of prayer? Why is he trying so hard to get a meeting in front of the people? To the brothers and sisters who wear the uniforms, our security, who walk the perimeter, who guard the gates and stand in the middle of every event, what I'm about to say now is for you. I want you to know something. You are not the enemy. You're not the enemy of anything that I'm doing. You're not the problem. You are simply caught in between two sides, often without having all the facts. But you have one of the most important roles of anybody in this story. You're not just guarding parking lots and doors. You're guarding people. And this is why I made it a point to put that video together last week, so that the members would understand how important your role really is. But the question is, who is it that you are really protecting? The problem with that question is, I don't think that you really know who you're protecting. Let me be real with you. If a thief came into your home and stole from your family, would you rush and get whatever you can put your hands on to block the door in order to protect that thief? If somebody was lying to your grandmother or slowly taking her money without her knowing, but you found out, using your grandmother's trust, this is somebody your grandmom trusts, and they're slowly deceiving her into taking money out of her account while she trusts them, would you stop that person, or would you stop somebody from exposing it? Would you guard someone just because they wear a minister's robe? Would you continue guarding somebody who you knew is taking money out of your grandmother's account just because they sit in a high position? They sit up in a high chair? Or is your job supposed to be protecting what is right? Some of you have seen things behind the scenes. You know something isn't right, but you've been told to stay quiet about it. You've been told your job is just to follow orders. But history is filled with people who followed orders while justice was being buried beneath their feet. They just followed orders. If you've seen the videos and you're on security, then ask yourself, why do they want me to be quiet? If I'm lying, why not just show the whole organization that Lewis is lying? Show them the proof. Show the evidence to the organization that Lewis is lying. Why are they being so quiet about things that I'm being so loud about? Why does it look like our leaders are afraid? Let me ask you plainly, is it wise to protect someone just because they have power? Is it right to silence those people who's asking for truth? And more than that, do you want your name connected to a system that is literally hiding corruption? When you go and put your time and your effort into standing opposed insecurity, you're lining yourselves up with that same system that's doing all types of wrong that you don't know about. You may think you're just doing your job, but if your job is helping to cover up lies, then you're no longer protecting the people, you're protecting power. And I know, and you know, that you're better than that. Now, I want to talk to those of you who are watching the videos, but you're still defending the leaders. Some of you without knowing the full truth, and some of you out of loyalty, and some of you are defending the leaders out of habit or fear of losing your place in the organization. Let me ask you something. Is it worth defending people that you really don't know? You see them on a platform, but you don't know what they do behind closed doors. You hear their sermons, but you don't see the bank accounts. You're just trusting a public image built on carefully controlled appearances, while real people behind the scenes are being silenced and hurt. Would you defend a stranger in court just because they wore a nice suit? Would you defend someone whose reputation is built around taking what does not belong to them, or removing people who know what they're about? Would you go and support that person just because their suit is embroidered, because their suit costs more money than others? Would you support someone if you knew they were doing things that you personally disagree with? Lying and manipulating others? If the answer is no, then why are you defending leadership without seeing all the facts? Why would you defend what's going on and not look at everything that's in the videos first? It's one thing to look at the videos and then make a determination. But if you're defending and you're not looking at the videos, well, then this is backwards. Let's be real. This is not about hating the house of prayer. But Mr. Cunningham wants you all to think that I'm hating the house of prayer. He wants you to think that I'm attacking the house of prayer creed. If you look at the types of games that he's playing, that'll tell you enough about him that maybe you should rethink your position of defending him. This is about saving the house of prayer from the inside out. This is not an attack. It's a call for honesty, for justice, and for truth. And when I say saving the house of prayer from the inside out, I mean saving the organization. Not the things that the leaders have built in it, not the games and the politics and the tactics to hide their manipulative behaviors. No, we're not talking about saving that. We're talking about cleaning the entire organization up so that the people in here and people out there can get what it is that we've been lying to everybody about for over 100 years. That here you can find truth, here you can find salvation, and here you can find God. These things have been completely distorted, and those things need to be cleaned up. Don't let your loyalty become your blindness. Ask yourself, if the leaders are clean, why not just show it? Why not prove the video's wrong? But why silence the people? Before you speak against those of us raising questions, I ask you, is it wise to fight against people who are simply asking for the truth to be seen? All I'm doing is asking for the truth to be seen. Is it wise to oppose people who's showing proof of the things that they say? You don't have to join me, but please don't oppose what I'm doing just to protect tradition. Watch the videos, just one. Let the truth speak for itself. Now, to everyone in the middle, to the members who are confused, quiet, unsure, or just tired, I want to speak to you directly. This is not your fault. You didn't cause this mess. You didn't ask for it. You just came here to worship and to serve what you thought to serve God, to be part of something spiritual. And now you feel like you're caught in a war. Let me give you permission today. You don't have to choose a side. You don't have to choose. You don't have to fight. You don't have to yell. You don't have to be pulled into the drama. But you do need to stand up for truth. You do need to stand up for what's right. And sometimes standing means watching carefully, thinking critically, and refusing to be manipulated. Right now, Mr. Cunningham is trying to divide us. And we all know he's trying desperately to divide us. But because there's so much loyalty to things that our members don't understand, this is causing people to feel like they did something wrong. They want the people to fight each other. Mr. Cunningham wants to turn members against members. So we're too busy arguing with one another to hold him accountable for anything. Because the more we come together, the more they fear. Not because we're violent, but because we're awake. We don't need to fall for all of his tactics. We don't need to fall for what it is that he's doing to try to turn the members against one another. We don't need to get caught up in this notion that members are fighting against members, that people in the house of prayer is coming against the house of prayer. And I apologize right now as I close this out. I keep getting a bunch of calls, and I needed to have that, make sure this is turned off. But when we stand together, he can't hide. Mrs. Madison can no longer hide. When we ask the same questions, they have to answer. And when the truth comes out, and it will, they will have to step down. And that's what this is about. He's doing everything he can to make sure that he does not have to step down. But when you look at the law says if you violate the law, you are to be investigated and removed. And our members don't understand that the leader is fighting to remain in a seat that all the members should know he shouldn't be sitting in because he's violated all the laws of the organization. And now to instill fear in the members, he's even made a mandate that if you're going to stay in the house of prayer, you're going to follow me? And the members are taking it? He's trying to turn us against one another. Not because he's right, but because he knows that I'm right. The last thing I want to say to those of you who are supporting what I'm doing, those of you who are walking with me and sharing videos and sending messages and encouraging other people to pay attention, I want to thank you with everything in me. My wife, every one of you. If you've done nothing yet, I thank you too for at least hearing me, for seeing the truth of what I'm presenting here. I need, however, for all of you who are supporting what we're doing to be smart. We're dealing with a system that's been built over decades by a multi-billion-dollar organization and its leadership. That system that will use anything it can to twist the truth. And this is what Mr. Cunningham is doing everywhere he goes. If you lose your temper, they will say that we're unstable. If you raise your voice, they're going to say that we're losing control. We're just here to cause trouble. If you touch someone out of what looks like anger, they're going to call the police. I reach out for the police. I bring them with me so that the police cannot be used against me, so that they won't lie, so that they won't tell the authorities that they have an intruder on the premises. No, I bring them with me. I let them see the full story first. And that way now, whenever they hear from them, they're going to understand, no, of course you're saying what you're saying because this man has already told us what's really going on. So I cannot allow them to control the narrative. With that said, I need you all to be disciplined. You see something that's upsetting? You see something that's bothersome? Be peaceful. Be wise. We must let the truth, not our emotions, do the work. No yelling, no threats, no physical contact, no arguing with people who just seem like they want to fight. None of that. If they swear at you, walk away. If they do anything, document it. Document everything so that you have evidence to use either right then or later. Everything that's going on, we're documenting. Everything. This is not a physical battle. This is a battle of integrity. And you're going to be hearing about that word later on. Mr. Cunningham dared to use that word this past weekend. We're not trying to take down anything in the house of prayer. We're trying to rebuild it. We're trying to fix it. We're trying to repair it. It will be so different because there's so much wrong with the interior infrastructure that we've gotten accustomed and we've gotten used to wrongdoing until people are defending wrongdoing. Is that what we stand for? Lastly, I want to leave you with a few simple truths. Truths that will outlive even me. Truths that will outlive these videos. Truths that will outlive any man who hides behind a title. Truth doesn't need protection. Never has. Lies do. Lies and liars who tell lies, they're the ones who need protection. Another truth. Good leaders don't hide. Good leaders stand right out in the front for everybody to see. They don't hide behind closed doors and behind crowds of people and behind many foot soldiers and men in front of them on detail who, by the way, don't know what you're hiding about in the first place. Good leaders don't hide. God and any man of God, any servant of God, you said you are a little God. No, a God with a little g. You've said all kinds of things. But God is not afraid of questions. God is not afraid of talking to anybody. So he said, come, sit down. Let us reason together. This is all I've been saying. So what are you afraid of? God does not fear those things, but corrupt leaders, they do. And corrupt leaders are afraid. You keep saying in your speeches, you're not afraid, but your actions tell everybody otherwise. Yes, you, Mr. Cunningham, are scared. And this is why you're hiding. You can love the church, another truth, and still, at the same time, while you love the church, demand answers from their leaders. You can demand better from their leaders. You can respect the faith and still reject fraud. Respect the faith, but I reject your fraud. And Mr. Cunningham, there's a whole lot of things that you and I both know are not real about you. So the fear here is that people don't see the fraud. So let me say one more thing. It's possible, this is another truth, that you can serve God without serving corruption. We need to get rid of the corruption so that we can serve God. We need to question our leaders so that we can make sure we have good leaders. If you remember nothing else, remember this. If the truth makes you uncomfortable, then that's not my fault. That's the truth doing what God ordained the truth to do. And we all have heard the saying that the truth hurts. If it hurts, that's not my fault. You have to look above. If you don't do nothing else, start watching the videos. I'll see you in the next video.